things up. For all of you who've been following the show for years and years and wondered what in the hell happened, why didn't you guys talk to us for the past half a year? What
happened?
We figured we'd take a moment this morning on our first day here on the RIF and talk a bit about that. And in the studio with us this morning is BJ from the Free Press. I keep just saying BJ because I'm not sure if it's Hammerstein or Hammerstein.
It's Hammerstein.
Hammerstein. Okay,
Hammerstein.
So BJ Hammerstein from the Detroit Free Press is in here. He wrote a big article on us that appeared in Sunday's paper. The picture's almost life-size.
It's gigantic. The movie.
And a very fair
I got the
article.
news going.
You know, BJ's kind of
took the free
followed
time
our
for
show
the
from the
first
very
day.
beginning and has been fair to us all the way through. So he's the guy that gets to sit in here with us this morning. Actually, our listeners, when BJ did a story on us, I think back in February, there was a couple of people that said, if you guys don't give a dude named BJ the exclusive to your return, there's something wrong with Dave and Chuck the Freak. Well,
Thank you.
BJ is the guy in here. So before we get down to what happened, I do have something that I have an issue with.
No doubt. Yeah, let's hear it.
In the article. And it wasn't, I thought the article was fair. You covered both sides of the story. It was on the very front page of the paper where it teased the story. And it says, radio clowns.
Yes, well.
Dave, Chuck, eager to break their silence. Let me see that.
He said he hasn't even seen it yet.
Yeah, I haven't even seen it. Yeah, like look at the bottom of the paper there. Radio clowns.
Is that inaccurate?
No.
Maybe, you know, it's funny, in the newspaper, the writer, BJ Hammerstein here, I'm putting all the words together basically of the story.
See? I got the little hosey thingy. I have to see if it works. But we only got the 25 foot, so we want to get the bigger one.
So you're trying to say someone else came up with that?
Since I moved, I don't have none of these anymore. So, but as you can tell, it's crappy outside, so can't really. I have the heat on. Can you hear that? The heat's actually on.
Yeah, I know. The pictures are good.
Freezing in this place. I got mom's warm socks on.
That's not you. If you know us at all, which you know we don't take ourselves seriously enough, then that's pretty harsh. I think it's just more stemmed from my fear of clowns that I was like, don't associate me with a clown. Here's what happened. If I can try and sum this up
here it goes.
In a short amount of time. Here's what happened to take us off the air. So we we were, of course, on the air at 89X. Yep. And we, received an offer to come here to the RIF. Mm-hmm. I have to tell you, it was not like a instant absolutely. As much as it's always been a dream of ours to get here on this legendary radio station, the fact that we would have to replace Drew Mike, one of our favorite radio shows, that was not an easy decision.
No.
By any means.
No.
And for those of you who think that we got them fired, you couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah.
The decision was made long before anyone reached out to us to see if there was interest to come here, that the contract wouldn't be renewed. And it wasn't because those guys sucked, and it wasn't because they weren't doing good. It was simply because they wanted to take the radio station in a different direction.
Yeah.
And that's the plain and simple story. We didn't say we want that job. We didn't call anyone here.
Yeah, you can't just call up and say, hey, I really like that work there.
I tried that all over the place.
But that's just not how it went down, and no one ever heard that side of the story from us. So that's it. They approached us to come work here, and after some serious deliberation and some, possibilities of going different places, like the West Coast or, further away, we said, we want to stay here. This is where we're from. I've been here for 15 years. You guys grew up here. We love this place so much. We're so attached to our families and friends that we could not imagine being anywhere else. And you guys as listeners, we have this special connection that I don't think we'd get anywhere else. you guys get us. You understand the comedy in our show.
Yep.
So of course we understand there's going to be thousands of people who are pissed at us, who are huge Drew and Mike supporters, who can't stand the fact that we're on this radio station this morning. We get it. We know. We love morning radio. We know the reaction we got when we left the radio. You guys are feeling the exact same way. For anyone who's giving us a chance this morning, thank you so much. If you think we suck and you'll never listen to us again, that's your call. You change the dial. You do whatever you need to do. We're here because obviously the people here thought that our show had something going on, and they wanted to bring it on the RIF for the next generation of RIF listeners. But we have nothing but respect for Drew and Mike and their 22-year legacy here on WRIF. That's incredible. You're hard-pressed to find radio stations anywhere in North America where their morning shows have been on the air that long. So just the fact they lasted that long tells you exactly how good they were at what they did. And that's really all we can say about that. What happened for us to leave 89X? Well, technically, we didn't quit. We weren't fired. I want to clear that up for people who think that 89X fired us and maybe give them some backlash for that. That's not the case. We were in a contract, and in that contract it was simply, if you receive another offer, you present it to us. They have first right of refusal. So 89X could have said, we're going to match that. We want you to stay here. And unfortunately, it just didn't work out. So they didn't match it, and then we left. And part of that contract was that there's 6 months where you can't be on another radio station. And could we have talked during this whole process? Absolutely, we could have. That, though, wouldn't have been fair to Drew and Mike or the people associated with that show. They found out the way they should have found out. Not from us, not from a league, not from anything. They found out from the people here in the greater media building. They knew. They didn't find out about it on the air. They didn't read about it on Channel 4's website. That's when the story broke for the first time, and they did see that live on the air, but they knew that the show was ending before that. And handled it with, I think, incredible talent
professionalism.
and incredible professionalism. The way they handled their last week of shows was unbelievable. And the fact that this company, Greater Media, gave them that week to sign off the show.
Never happens in radio.
That does not happen. If I had any questions in my mind about this company, that sealed them. I heard so many positive things about this place before we got here. That's why we made the decision to come here. But
I see your eyeballs.
That move was such a classy move. It could have went horribly wrong for them. They could have said some really brutal things.
Okay, so now we know.
They didn't